What's up, everybody? I feel like playing different music today. You know why? Because I can. Because I control the damn music. That's why. What's up? Welcome to
What's
episode number.
down?
What episode is this? Is it episode 8? We're so few in number. I've already lost track. I think it's episode
8 or
number 8.
10?
Something in there. Welcome to episode whatever number I can't remember. We this week are going to be talking about Disc Priests, which is actually a really interesting class, since they specialize in damage absorption and mitigation, which we're going to be talking about quite a bit. But first, before we get into all that stuff, Alex, hi,
Hi.
what's up, dude? Talk to me. How you feeling?
How I'm feeling? Ah, am I going to lay down on the psychiatrist or the psychologist sofa now and tell you about my childhood?
If you want, I'm here to listen. This is what I do.
That's what you do. Okay. No, everything is fine with me. I am actually not very tired, surprisingly enough. It's been a good night. I've been doing the show notes. I've been playing my Disc Priest. Um, and chatting to you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
hmm
I actually have been playing WoW too, but I've actually been playing on another server, taking Rob's advice. If you haven't seen his article on re-rolling a character starting over on separate servers or a separate account and not having any of your heirlooms or any higher level characters and stuff, it's actually really cool. And I was really inspired by that, so that's what I've been doing. And I re-rolled a character to do that. So that's what I have been doing. Also, if you hadn't noticed, I have switched my mic out because my other mic, my professional podcasting mic, is annoying the absolute friggin' bejesus out of me. So I'm going back to my normal headset for a little while, just until I feel like hooking the other thing back up. So if I sound different, then there you go. So let's dig right into Discipline Priest because there's going to be a lot for us to talk about. We got to cram this into about an hour. So we've been getting really good about hovering right around an hour. So let's keep that. Let's keep that going.
Yeah.
So per usual, we always usually talk about talents to start off the show. For some random reason, that's just kind of what we do now. So we'll get going with that. Tier 1 talents offer you really no benefit to anything in terms of damage. It's just a crowd control talent tree. So a lot of people I know go with Void Tendrils. That seems to be the most popular one that I've looked up, and from people that play the spec, that's what they like. I know that you've been playing yours quite a bit. So what do you pick for tier 1?
Void tendrils,
Yeah.
mostly. Just because it's a route and it's always, you know, up to 5 enemies for up to 20 seconds is great. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been just earlier today, I was, killing those frogs on the Timeless Isle that put a lethal dot on you. And, somewhere around 7 stacks, I just void tendril, run away, keep on, smiting those poor bastards and let the stacks drop off. So, I mean, it's really good for soloing. And I think you can, I know the priest in my raid team use it also a lot. And I mean, I know this is Mr. Senstyle's personal choice as well, but from really rather odd reasons, which we should probably not go into here.
Anyways, and the
Yeah.
other two are Sci-Fiend and Dominate Mind. Dominate Mind is mind control, but you can't be hit while casting it, or else it interrupts and you lose it. So a lot of people use that in PvP, and they make people jump
Yeah.
off the sides of the map and stuff like that. So I mean, it can be
hmm
fun, but a lot of people just go with Void Tendrils just because that's just the default choice. So talent or tier 2 of talents, I actually offer you some mobility with Body and Soul, Angelic Feather, and Phantasm. Is that how is that? Phantasm?
Phantasm, yeah.
Yes. Um,
Woo!
Now there's two schools of thought here. Body and Soul does increase movement speed in your target, so people will when they play Disc Priest, a lot of times they're going to be healing the tank. They'll be in that role. I mean, obviously it depends if you're 10 and 25 man, and a lot of it on your raid makeup, but from like I said, the research that I've done, a lot of people are on the tank. So if the tank needs to move quickly, or if they need to be able to be put in that kind of situation, Body and Soul seems to be a really good choice for them. Whereas also I've heard other people say Angelic Feather is preferred just simply because of the mobility of the raid, but a lot of it depends on the fight itself. Um, what do you prefer when you play?
Um, I've always been a body and soul kind of girl ever since the beginning. Because it was a holy talent, I believe, in the beginning,
Right,
and I obviously played a holy priest for 4 years.
right,
So, but they've kind of nerfed it a little bit. They've decreased the duration of it. And I mean, angelic feather is better in most situations if you want that extra button to use. I mean, you do have to press the button, target the ground. Takes a little practice.
right.
Depends on what you're aiming at. But I'd say it's worth it. You get far more speed out of your angelic feathers.
Sure.
However, it's really hard to kind of maybe um, target other people that needs a speed boost.
Well, I mean
Well,
that's
it relies on a lot of on your other members of the raid team,
being
you know.
smart.
Yeah, and running over the feather. And the right feather, not the feather that you put down for yourself.
And see, and
Because that's really annoying.
that's the thing with this spec in this class
Hmm.
specifically is that there's a lot of it, especially when we get talking about like whether you're going to be choosing crit or mastery in your builds. Um,
Hmm.
I'm the type of person where I don't like to take chances on spells or relying on other people, right? So
Hmm.
my preference for this would be Body and Soul because I know that if the target of my power word shield, is probably going to be a tank most likely, and I know for a fact that if he or she needs to be able to move quickly, that can happen on
Hmm.
my command. Now, if I'm putting down something like Angelic Feathers and there's that one guy who gets them all because he just wants to be that guy, like that's out of my control. Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and then someone else comes along and ruins it. So, and there's a lot of that kind of choice in this class where it's like, okay, you can either make it be a certain way, and you can control it, or it's going to be you kind of leaving it to chance. Like I said, between crit and mastery. So me personally, I like Body and Soul because I'm in control versus Angelic Feather where I'm not in as much control. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And then
I would still say that angelic feather is the best choice,
right,
but it requires a whole lot more from you.
it does, yeah.
Whereas body and soul is really
And then
comfortable.
Phantasm, no
But
one cares
the
about.
speed boost is so small these days. I
Yeah.
kind of find I've left body and soul behind, not using it anymore.
Tier 3 is pretty cool. This is the performance enhancing abilities from
Hmm.
Darkness Comes Light, Mind Bender, and Power Word Solstice. Or Solace, excuse me. Um, I can't read. So I'll let you start this one off. What do you prefer? Why? What do you like? What do you think?
Power solace,
Okay, why?
I'd say. Just because of the mana regeneration. I mean, if you're gonna do a lot of atonement healing, granted, I really don't like atonement healing, but that's not the point.
It is
If you're
really
gonna
popular
do,
now, though. It never used to be, because it never used to be viable.
yeah,
It is now, though. Sorry.
I would use it because it's a good mana regeneration. It does damage. I believe it increases the damage smite does when it's
Hmm.
active on a target as well. I
Right.
might be wrong about that, but I think so. Um, I mean, the good thing about the Disc Priest is that it can actually add a little bit of DPS to your raid. I mean, it's not much, but it certainly is, more than um, you can do. Um, you get like an extra third of a DPS or something like that.
Right.
Not really, fourth quarter. I don't know. Um, and
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't.
And you've lost your train of thought. Okay.
No, I'm not lost it. I'm just trying to
To
find the best
articulate
way
it.
to articulate it. But yes, that's what I would choose.
Surprise, surprise. Guess what? I'm going to choose Mindbender. And I guarantee you know why. It's more consistent. Um, It's one of those things where it has more damage, more mana regeneration. It's more consistent. I can rely on Mindbender to be there for me all the time. Versus something like From Darkness Comes Light, which does
Mm-hmm.
passively grant you 50% chance whenever you use Smite, heal, flash heal, a whole bunch of stuff, penance, whatever, causes your next flash heal to be instant cast and have no mana cost. Okay, well that's great, but it's too random. I don't have to rely on something to proc to, or you know what I mean. Like it's a 15% chance isn't that much. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Versus something like Mindbender, where guess what? I can rely on that. I know it's there. I know I'm gonna get I can maybe get a little bit less spirit now and go into more intellect because I have a little bit more mana regeneration with Mindbender. So, um, and that's where that balance comes into. We talked about a couple other classes where balancing spirit versus intellect, or spirit versus your other stats, your secondary stats with crit mastery, depending on what's preferred for that class specifically. Here it's the same deal. In the lower specs of your lower tiers of 90, you're going to be putting on a lot of spirit because your mana regeneration is going to blow. But as you start getting better gear, you can start cycling away from spirit and more into intellect, and then of course crit mastery, depending on however you want to play. So Mindbender is what I'm going with because I'm a lazy slob and I like it.
You don't like RNG, basically.
I don't. No, I really don't. It just doesn't make sense. But I mean, that's just how I play. That's just me. I'd
Hmm.
rather have like the medium size heals versus the crit heals where I'm just like, whoa. Like, I mean, I know, I must have just healed for some outrageous amount, but guess what? Most of that was an overheal. So I mean, honestly, like, how often do you really need that huge heal? It's gonna be that perfect amount where it tops off that player. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just not the way it works. So at
Yeah,
least
well,
not in my
you
experience.
don't have to worry about overhealing as a disc priest.
Exactly. Well, I'm
They're
just saying,
always the
but I'm just saying,
lowest
like
on the
you
counts.
also don't need those massive crit heals either. I mean the absorption is good with the shields, which we'll talk about later. But I'm just like I said, I'm just the type of person who wants to be consistent with the healing.
Mm.
Being I can predict it. I know what's gonna happen. I know if I need to use that cooldown. I know if I need to ask for help. Um, playing. So whatever class it is that I'm playing, that's just how
Mm.
I am. So tier 4 is survivability with Desperate Prayer, Spectral Guise, and Angelic Bulwark. Um, Now here's some interesting choices here. Desperate Prayer, it does heal the caster for 30% of your maximum health with a 2-minute cooldown, which is nice. So it's kind of like an emergency thing, but
Hmm.
as disc, you're gonna be running a lot of bubbles on yourself anyways. So that's but where it really synergizes well is with Void Shift, because if the tank is going down, it's less than 15%. You snap Void Shift onto the tank, your health switches. Now you're at 15% health, the tank's at full health, or based on percentage, and then you can use Desperate Prayer. So as you can just keybind that. So just one button, boom, swapped health, and you just healed yourself for 30% more. So a lot of people like to use that combo, especially with progressive rating. So, um, but the other thing is Angelic Bulwark. But I can talk about that in a second, unless that's the one that you would like to pick. What do you like?
Um, I usually go for Desperate Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the fight. Like when we were talking about Holy Priests, I mentioned that Spectral Guys. Mostly people use this for PvP, but when we were fighting Thok, for example, it was a really good way of getting him to, if he was targeting you, to get him to drop target. Should he target you again and you had ran all the way to a wall and couldn't go anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it does have its uses in PvE as well. I mean, it's when it comes to talents like this, it's really hard to say, oh, this is the only choice you have because it's not a throughput talent. It's survivability, and different fights require different things.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Um,
it's a toss up, I think.
I've seen some people that pick Angelic Bulwark because they just don't want to have to worry about it. Because since it's a passive ability that does put a shield on you when you drop below 30% health.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shield that absorbs 20% of your maximum health. So, and it's a 90-second cooldown, so it's something you don't even need to worry about. I mean, because I know a lot of people, I mean, myself included, even though I haven't played a lot of healing classes, I have healed in raiding environments for my holy paladin, and sometimes, especially with someone like me who's not a healer primarily, I
Hmm.
get tunnel visioned on my grid. I'm not watching the encounter as much as I'm watching grid. So I'm like, okay, I gotta heal this person, I gotta heal this person, I gotta heal. And that's just a bad habit of people that just don't heal very often. But suffice it to say that that has happened to almost everyone that's healed before, whether or not you've grown out of it, or if that's still a bad habit of yours, it's still something that happens. So with Angelic
Hmm.
Bulwark, that's one of those talents that, say you are just tunnel visioning on your grid, and then something happens to you, and it does drop you below 30% health, and boom, you're gonna get shielded, and then you can kind of go, that's that oh shit button, and then you can heal yourself back up. But um, it's one of those, you don't have to worry about it as much if you do, have a problem with tunnel visioning or things like that. So
If you
that's
have a
that's
problem with tunnel visioning.
it's true. People do.
Or
That's
I
a
mean,
thing.
or you could work on not having tunnel vision.
Well,
It's
yeah,
just an
obviously,
idea. I'm just
obviously, but I mean,
toss
not
just
everyone is as
tossing it.
good as you, Alex. Okay, some
I do
people
get
just.
tunnel vision sometimes, it's true, but I try to try to keep my eyes off
I'm just
the
saying
my my healing grid.
this is just an example as to why this talent could be chosen. Because
Yes. Okay.
a lot of people would say,
Fair
well,
enough.
why pick that to passive ability? I mean, 30% health. I'm a healer. Like, who cares? Well, there's a prime example. Boom, there you go. You're too
That's kind
nervous
of
thinking
my
that the
reasoning has been with first aid. It's just like I don't need bandages.
well,
I'm a healer.
well, yeah, there's always that like that one guy in your raid who's always like the biggest mean like guy that calls everyone out, and you don't want to make that guy mad. So you're just because he thinks everyone's below him and is an idiot, and he's been playing since like the beta WoW, and he has like 7 computers and 12 accounts, and all he does is play WoW all day. Well, like,
Hmm.
see, you don't want that guy to die, so you're just so busy concentrating on making sure you don't screw up that you just totally miss a mechanic and take a substantial amount of damage to the face. So, anyways, moving on.
Sounds like he needs to die a little bit.
tier
Sorry,
tier
but
five talents.
just
There's a lot to talk about with tier five talents because it is again another performance
yes.
enhancing abilities. I'll let you kick this one off because I know there's a lot to talk about. So
Okay, well, what used to be the big thing for Disc Priest were power infusion, like before they changed the talents and everything.
right.
Now everyone can choose power infusion. I mean, it's a 2-minute cooldown, increases spell casting speed by 20%, reduces the mana cost of all your spells by 20%, and increase all damage done by 5%. So, I mean, it's good for intense periods of healing, especially if you're an atonement healer, because it will just lower the mana costs for that. Um, and everything.
Right.
However, I would strongly suggest Twist of Faith. It will increase your damage and healing for 15% for 10 seconds each time you damage or heal a target that's below 35%
And the
health.
keyword is passively.
Yeah.
Ahem. Just saying.
Ex-
There are those choices again.
Exactly. I mean, this works very well with atonement healing. It works. I mean, you can kind of trigger it by like smiting something that's about to die, like ads and stuff. I mean, you don't have to wait for the boss to go below 35% health. You can trigger it by using it on ads and stuff
Right.
if you're a little bit clever about that, which makes it a really strong talent, uh, I'd say. Um,
Twist of Fate
yeah.
seems to be the most popular now. That seems to be the choice that most people are making, especially
Mhm.
with atonement healing. It does make a pretty big difference. So there is Divine Insight, which grants you 100% chance to whenever you cast Penance that your next Power Word Shield will ignore um, uh, and cause the it won't cause a weakened soul effect. So,
Mhm.
but that has some. I mean, we can. I mean, you can make a case for that with your Archangel spell and all this other stuff, but honestly, Power Infusion and Twist of Fate are going to be the two that you're going to pick the most. But I again, I'm going to pick Twist of Fate because it's a passive thing. It's something I don't have to worry about. It's something else that is guaranteed. I know it's going to be there. You know what I mean? But it is power infusion can be nice on burn phases or periodic
Mm.
um, spikes of damage. Um, I know I've said this a couple times in past episodes, but I always say, know your fights, know your class, know what you're expecting, do your job. You know, but with this talent, or excuse me, with this class specifically and this spec, knowing the fight is makes or breaks you in playing this specific spec. Because with your biggest role isn't just straight healing. You're putting shields on everyone. It's knowing when the spikes of damage are going to come in or when they're not. So there's times you can bubble the whole raid if you want and keep them up the whole time. So if you know there's going to be this massive AOE damage coming in, you can prevent the whole raid from wiping, especially on progressive raiding. That makes a huge difference. Um,
Hmm.
but
I mean,
that's what these
I would
makes a
say,
difference.
yeah, I would say about Divine Insight, there are kind of two situations where you could probably benefit from this. Um, Tank healing. I mean, if you want to be able to bubble them more often,
Making this.
obviously. And also, I mean, I find that if I go into like LFR, I pick glyphs and talents that will reduce the weakened soul effect.
Sure, because everyone in LFR is
Main
an idiot. You can say it. You can say it. It's okay.
No, but mainly just because especially if there are other disc priests around,
Right.
there's going to be
I'm
weakened
glad.
souls all over the
I'm
place.
glad you brought up LFR.
Pardon?
I'm glad you brought up LFR.
You are.
It transitions well into tier 6 when we get there.
Oh, okay. Well, that's basically just what I was going to say, but I think Twist of Faith is
Yeah,
what you want to go
Twisted Fate
for,
is where it's at, unless you want to mess around with some more cooldowns for you know if that's what your raid leader needs or that's what you feel more comfortable with. Pick that. That's just not for us.
Hmm.
Tier 6 talents. Again, this is the deal damage or heal multiple targets. So you have Cascade, Defiant Star, and Halo. Now, um, depending on oh god, I hate saying this. Depending on what your situation is,
We
it's
say that like at every tier of talents, I
it's
think.
like think about it like this. Like, you know,
Hmm.
Cascade is for LFR, pretty much, unless you're in 25-man rating. Because think about it. I mean, at what point when you do an LFR are all 25 people standing where they should be standing? Go ahead, take your time, think about it. Because guess what? It doesn't happen. Okay, so
No, indeed.
Cascade is kind of like you're spreading the love around, man. It's just like going everywhere. It's like a chain heal, okay? So because you know that those guys that are doing LFR, they don't care. They're just gonna stand wherever they want to stand, and yet they're gonna yell at you if they die. So such is the irony in the game. So Cascade is more of that type of everyone's spread out kind of LFR feel, whereas Defiant
Hmm.
Star is like if I were to take um, like a dodgeball and there was like three people lined up and I just throw it at their face, and it just that'd be I mean it obviously won't work that way because after it hits the first person it'll bounce away, but just pretend like it would hit each person in the face. That's exactly what it's like. It's like this straight line of dodgeballs to your face. That's the one I like because I think I
Well,
think I think it's cool because it's good. It's kind of like with Halo. It's good for melee because they're grouped up. So I'm just like, here you go, kind of thing. So those are the best analogies I can make. Sorry if they weren't very good.
I
I
mean,
could I could think of
dodgeballs,
something else with
they
Defiant
they
Star,
do
which
more
shoots
harm
straight
than good.
on your
Everyone
face.
who's ever been to gym class know this.
Got my eye.
So, it's the weirdest, analogy ever. But yes, it's like a yo-yo. I mean, it's really good for when you're stacked up, say, Shove, Pride, maybe. Um, would be one. When, what do you, my goodness. Um, I like Halo. Halo's really strong. I was using it earlier today in a raid, and it's just like, oh
It's
my
good.
God, this is silly.
It's good if everyone's stacked
Um,
though. That's the thing. If everyone's not stacked, then it doesn't work as
you
well.
don't have to be stacked. It's huge, and the thing is
So she
that
said,
like around, it's like a 30-yard radius, and the targets that are around the 25-yard mark are the ones that are going to receive the most healing and damage.
Right.
So you just need to be aware of your placement. There are add-ons that will measure the distance for you. Um, but yes, of course, it's a matter of your situation and which encounter you're
Hmm.
gonna do. I
Hmm.
mean, Cascade is lovely for like holy priests that use Serenity. I think because it renew, and
Renew's
yeah,
Renew.
yeah.
Renew is like terrible for Disc Priest though.
I think disc priests are very lazy with using it.
I
Um,
just think it's bad.
oh, okay.
I mean, I'm just saying I think it's bad just because like it's not worth it. Like this, the heal isn't worth it. So I mean, I looked at probably I don't know, probably like 10 or 15 different people like checking out like rotations, checking out like world of logs and all these things, right? And I didn't see a single renew. And these are like top end guilds. So it's like, well, why aren't they using renew? And then I looked in a little further, and it's like a lot of people are like, okay, renew's just not worth it, man. Like just take it off your bar. Like you just don't need it. So I don't know if maybe they're just not utilizing it properly, or if they're just right and it's just terrible. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you use renew. I don't know how we got on this, but now we're on this. So
Yeah, I do, but that's the, 4 years of holy priesting in me, I think. I just like hots as well. I mean, there's a reason why I switched from disc priest to a Mistweaver monk this expansion. Just hotting everything up.
hot, hot, hot. So there you
Yeah.
go. They're all the tier talents. We'll jump into glyphs real quick. Oh my god, I've already been doing this for 28 minutes. Um, what do you? We'll try to make the glyphs fast since there's not really too much to talk about. Glyph of Penance is one that we want to mention. It does increase the cost by 20%, but you can use it on the move. So there you go.
Mhm.
Ta-da! It is one of the glyphs that I do find that most raiders will use because it's almost back in the day where certain glyphs are mandatory. This is one of those pretty much a mandatory glyph. I mean, you need to be able to heal on the move sometimes, and since the Disc Priest doesn't have a lot of mobility spells like that, this is something that can really help you out. Especially once you get into higher end raiding, when your gear starts scaling well, and you're gonna have a lot of spirit in a big mana pool. So there you go.
Yeah. It was uh it was a lovely change, I have to say, when they added this glyph.
Hmm.
Um,
It is nice.
I concur.
Oh god.
Yes. Another one that's really good is Glyph of Inner Sanctum, which reduces the amount of spell damage you take by 6% while Inner Fire is active.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, it increases the movement speed of Inner Will by 6% too. I would say like the spell damage reduction is the thing here. That's what you want, especially if you're doing like more progression raiding and stuff.
Right.
Definitely.
Speaking of progression rating, I do know that there were I can't remember the guy's name now, the guy in Paragon. But when they were
Mhm.
doing progressive rating, he was abusing the shit out of binding heal, because he was trying to find a way because with the glyph it does hit a third target,
Mm-hmm.
but it does have a 35% increased mana cost. But he's like, I don't care. Like there's got to be a way to abuse this spell with this glyph, and they found it.
Is that so?
Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
found it. So that's just something to keep in mind. I mean, for using these glyphs and using these your abilities to its maximum potential is what these high end raiders do, and that's something
Mm.
maybe you can help your own guild if you're not obviously at their level. Not a lot of people are, but you never know. I mean, especially in 10-man raiding, that's a huge deal. Um, Having that third person makes a pretty big difference. A lot of times when you only have maybe two healers for fights, maybe three. A lot of times two. So there
But
you go.
how exactly were they abusing it?
I'm not sure exactly like
What do you mean
how.
by abusing?
Like he just wanted to find like certain ways where it would be beneficial to use that more so than a lot
Oh,
of people
right.
thought, because when a lot of these guys are going in, they're doing progressive rating, especially when it's a new expansion, they're all in greens, so they're trying to find every single possible way to exploit the game and its glyphs and its talents that they can to help them progress forward. And I know that was one that he had wanted to try to find ways to take advantage of, with the binding heal glyph. So
Brilliant.
um, one other one I wanted to mention was prayer mending. It does increase the healing by 60% on the first target, but it causes
Hmm.
it to have one fewer charge. But again, if you're going to be on the tank a lot, in the something I mentioned earlier, that's a really great glyph to have, because that extra 60% is going to be huge for the tank. So
Yeah.
something else I just want to mention.
Um, Glyph of Fade can be good if you need a little defensive cooldown because it will reduce your damage taken by 10% while it's active. It's not bad. Um, I mean, I tend to use Glyph of Holy Fire because it increases the range of Holy Fire Smite and Powered Solace by 10 yards. So it's really good if you're making extensive use of atonement healing,
Sure.
which everyone is doing nowadays.
Of course, of course. They're not cool unless you atone. Min heal.
Exactly. You need to atone for your
You
healing.
need to atone for your non-atonement healing.
Atone for
Guy.
your smiting. I don't know.
Come on, guy.
I'm not a wordsmith.
So speaking of tank healing or single target healing, that's something we'll move into now. Is a little bit of that rotation spells and
Hmm.
stuff you should use. Um, when healing a tank, or even in single target, you should want to use a couple different spells on cooldown as much as possibly can. Obviously, for in regards to mana efficiency, which is penance and power word shield. So those are the two that is something you're going to be using primarily all the time, as much as you possibly can. In addition, depending on what's going on, so example, if there's not a lot of damage going out, maybe it's pretty early on, like a raid boss or something. There's a couple adds out, nothing too hairy. Heal is always you're a good option here. Use extensive use of your heal. Power word shield every 12 seconds. Prayer of mending, and then of course you can use, if you want, renew. Even though a lot of people don't use the renew, just simply because they just don't find it to be very
It's it's an
very
instant
useful.
cast though, so you can use it whilst running.
Well, that's true.
Um,
That is true. But like I said, for some reason people just don't use it. I don't. I mean, I haven't played a disc preset at a high level, so I don't. I wouldn't know personally. But like I said, from the research I've done, that's just not something that's used quite often. But it could be because of the way the gear is skilled now, or the fact that they're so far ahead, and um, with their stats and stuff. I mean, I don't know. Everything's on farm. I mean, who knows? Um, if there's high damage situations going out, not quite like wipe status, but there's some pretty good AoE damage going out. This when you start popping in a greater heal. Same thing, you want to shield every 12 seconds, powered shield your penance on cooldown and prayer mending, because it's going to be jumping around, which is going to help out quite a bit.
yeah.
And then of course you have your binding heal flash heal for times your tank's dying or your other healer's dying, or which is your high mana cost spells, which will just burn your mana down. But those emergency situations, you absolutely have to do it.
I would like to say that do like with the Power World Power Word Shield. Um,
Power, come to me.
do make sure that
I don't know
it's
what I'm saying.
if possible consumed. Like it's not, how would you say, over shielding? Because one thing that you need to keep track of when you're a disc priest is rapture.
Yeah,
And rapture not only passively removes the cooldown on Power World Shield, which is
awesome.
great because it used to be like 8 seconds or something, I
Yeah, it
think
was really
6 or 8
long. It
seconds.
was long.
Um, Also, when it's dispelled, when your shield is dispelled or completely absorbed, you'll get mana back equal for 100%. Uh, so this is why you need to make sure that your shields are absorbed if possible.
Yes.
Pardon?
I said yes.
Yes. um,
Yes.
yes. And there are many add-ons to do this. You can either use a weak aura or
Tell me
there. I
now.
think there are. Pardon?
Tell me now. That's a really good one to use.
Yeah. Or just a custom, like a custom weak aura,
Especially keeping
or
track of Rapture.
add-ons that you can find on Curse or something.
Rapture is
Um,
good. If you use Tell Me Now, I know that people use that to track Rapture quite a bit.
okay.
So that's always something to keep in mind.
Yeah. No, I've always had weak auras myself,
Something
but
we don't really
because you
talk
can
about a lot is
customize them.
add-ons.
Mm.
I don't know why.
Well, we'll get there,
Probably
I'm
because the
sure.
show's long enough. You guys don't want to sit here and listen to us talk for that long. Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear myself
Also,
talk for that long. Uh,
also something to think about, to track to what you want on your raid frames is a way to see where you put where grace is basically because every time you heal, flash heal, greater heal, um, and also penance, I believe. You bless the target with grace, increasing the healing received from the priest by 10% stack up to 3 times and lasts for 15 seconds. In other words, it's really nice to have on targets that will take a lot of damage. Um, so that's also something you need to be tracking. Um, another also um, like if you're going into atonement healing, you will really want to, well, not only atonement healing, all disc healing, you need to keep track of your evangelism stacks. Um, that's 4% stronger heals per stack, stacks 5 times. And it will reduce your mana cost by 6% as well for the spells that are used to stack it. And I mean, 5 times 4% is 20% stronger heals. So you will, as long as you're not going to pop Archangel, you will you will want to keep evangelism stacks up at all times. And then you consume them when you use Archangel, and that's good for when you want to build spirit shells to maybe counter a big damage coming in. It's all about planning disc priesting um, to know when the damage is. I mean, all healing is about to know when the damage is coming, but you know, disc priesting especially, I'd
yeah.
say.
Yeah. Because you gotta put those shields up, bro.
Hmm. Also, why do
Broskis.
you have a Murloc on your shoulder?
What are you talking about?
Am I hallucinating again? Is it that late?
There's nothing there.
Oh. Um. Hmm.
Just saying. Saying. Um.
Oh.
So let's see. What should we talk about now? There's so many things to talk about. Oh my
I
goodness.
don't know. I think I covered a whole lot of
You
things
did.
in a very short
I
amount of
I
time
don't
there.
I don't know even now what to do with my life.
Um, we can talk stats. Let's talk stats.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I gotta find it in my damn notes. Holy God,
Well,
you went a long ways.
I'm
You
sorry.
went multiple pages on me. Good Lord.
Good Lord.
Okay. So, with stats, you know, I don't know. Here's the thing. This is intellect is always going to be your number one stat, right? But then there is, like I said earlier, spirit becomes important in the beginning because you want to have your mana regeneration and everything. But then what happens is, as you start getting gear, you start getting better and better mana regen. So then you can start going into either crit or mastery. And this is where I was talking about earlier, whereas in crit, you can get lucky and maybe get that huge heal that you wanted or you needed at that particular moment, or
Hmm.
something like mastery, where the absorption of your shield is going to be more. Your it's just that type of stuff. Your healing is increased by 10% of the mastery amount and stuff like that. So it's more of a consistent. Here it is. This is my guy. I'm coming in. It's like I'm healing. I'm healing. I'm healing. Okay, I'm doing good. Doing good. And so I don't have to
Is
worry.
that the smite?
Yep, that's what it is. See, I don't have to worry about like, oh man, this better crit. Oh man, I got a crit here. Like, I don't like worrying about that. Like, that's too stressful, man. That's not my thing.
Hmm.
So intellect, and then spirit until you need it anymore, and then it's for me it'd be mastery, crit, haste. That's me.
Well, as per usual, I'm gonna have to disagree.
Of course. Of course,
I,
of course.
I mean, always spirits is always, until you're comfortable. It's a really frustrating word to say to someone that's new with healing. Remember when I was new and I was just like, "Give me a freaking number." I don't understand this. But after a while, you kind of get where you're going. But anyway, crit will provide you more consistent divine Aegis creation. So, and increased output on your atonement healing. Um, and also it interacts with spirit shell. It's just it's just really, really nice. And I would say go for crit. You want some mastery, obviously, but crit is the yummy stat.
Yummy,
Um,
yummy.
yeah,
Like gummy
like
bears.
because before Divine Age is just procced when you did Circle of Healing.
Hmm.
I think it's but now they have changed it so it just procs on crit. And what happens is that instead of having a heal that's like double as strong, you get 100% of the heal, and then you get 100% of an absorption shield. Um, so it's
Makes
really
it
good.
nice. I told you. Those
Mm.
those shields, man.
And mm,
You got nothing. Paladin's
um,
got nothing on you. You tell that paladin to shut the hell up.
I mean, just generally talking about disciplined priests, they are really, really strong in a lot of situations. And they've been constantly nerfed in every patch, I believe, out through Mist of Pandaria, just because Spirit Shell was so ridiculously strong in the beginning.
Mm.
Um, and it's gotten nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and it's still really, really good. So, um, you know.
Yeah.
I find myself not having to work for it so much with Disc Priest. Whereas, like with a Mistweaver, I'm all over the place, keeping, my renewing mists on as many targets as possible, making sure that they don't fall off, um, uplifting. It's more like very intricate dance. And with my Disc Priest, I'll just. I mean, I can be lazy. I mean, there's a lot of intricacies with Discipline Priests,
Yep.
especially like especially the whole thing about tracking rapture and all that. It's just
Yeah, it can be a big pain in the ass.
yeah, but also fun if you like a little bit more advanced ways. But you can also just depending on what your encounter is, obviously. I mean, in LFR you can go in and just atonement heal for
Yeah. Yeah, no one cares.
most of the. Well, you were still gonna top the meters. I
Smite,
did
smite,
in my
smite, smite,
in my
smite.
throne of tire. Uh, Throne of Tides? No.
Throne
Throne
of
of
Tired.
Thunder.
Throne of Tired.
I am sitting on a
Game of
throne of
Tired.
tired, getting throne of tides and throne of thunder
Garrosh is coming.
confused. Is he? Where?
That's just what they
um.
say.
Right. I killed Garrosh the other
Did
day.
you?
Woo! Yes.
Lord
Got my
Arthas
got
always pays his
my.
debts.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Isn't that the Lannisters in Game
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
Thrones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got my Corcoran Warwolf. I was very pleased with that.
So
Anywho.
I actually think Arthas is technically what is Deadbane never die. I think that would actually be better
Oh,
for him.
okay.
Now that I think about it, which is the
Hmm.
yeah, what that other guy. What's that other guy? Okay, why am I having a brain fart? I'm reading like all the books right now. What the hell's that kid's name? All right, anyways, keep talking. I'll think of it. I'll
I
just
don't
shout it
know.
out. I'll shout it out when you're talking, most likely.
Yeah. Um. Well, I lost my train of thought now. I don't know where I was
It's the
going.
Baratheon, Stannis Baratheon. Okay, anyways, um,
Hmm.
what the hell are we gonna talk about now? Let's talk about some cooldowns. We haven't really talked about.
Joy. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you. Damn. It's like I'm reading all these damn books and I can't even think of the friggin'. But anyways,
He's he's Lily Allen's little brother. Just a little fun fact.
no, there you go.
Hmm.
See, we don't only talk about WoW, guys. We have a life. We like.
Yeah, we talk about fantasy books as
It's
well.
like, oh, guys, we read as we, watch other things too. So
Yeah, I mean, hello, look at my glasses.
yeah, duh.
I wear them to like
Hello.
signal to other geeks
Look at
that,
my.
we have something in common. Oh my goodness. Disc Priest has turned into a farce.
I don't even know.
Anyway,
I don't even know. Anyone who's watching this on YouTube's like, to hell with this. They just closed out of it by now.
mhm.
Those guys don't know what they're talking about.
I kind of know what I'm talking about.
I'm just going with it. Um. Okay. So have we talked about like cooldowns yet? Can we talk about
No.
some of that?
Yes.
Okay. So there are a few there's what, five cooldowns that you're gonna want to keep in mind. Void Shift is one that I already mentioned. So it's gonna be used to save the life of a member that's gonna be dying. Most likely, it's gonna be a tank.
Hmm.
And what you do is you basically just, it's percentage based, but you swap health with the person that you're targeting for Void Shift. So and that again works really well with some of your earlier tier talents. Um,
This is like when you're a holy paladin and you throw a hand of sacrifice on someone, and then you just kill yourself if you're not prepared.
it's the best.
The exact same thing can happen here. There are ways to prevent it. Um, a nice shield on yourself before doing it if you have the time.
Right.
Or just you need to be make sure you're topped up, basically.
Um, Powered barrier. Everyone knows what that is, and if you've rated everyone, they'll the raid leader will say barrier. And everyone stacks up, and you stand inside the barrier and
Oh yeah, it's really, really good.
barrier.
Um,
Pain suppression. Maybe you've heard it a lot, but maybe you don't know exactly what it does. But basically, what it does is it I can't remember the exact amount.
I think
Um,
it's 30 or 40%.
40%. Um,
Mhm.
so it reduces threat, but it doesn't really matter because at that point, most likely they already have all the threat that they need. It reduces all damage they take by 40% for 8 seconds. So it's going to be there's two things here. First of all, you want to cast it before you know the big damage is going to come in, not during, but before,
If possible.
if possible. And the second thing
Mm.
is you can actually cast it while you're stunned.
Yep.
So
It's really good for PvP.
something to keep in mind.
Oh yeah.
There is Spirit Shell. So for the next 10 seconds, your heal, flash heal, greater heal, prayer of healing, no longer heal, but instead
Mm.
create an absorption shield that lasts 15 seconds. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they will pop Spirit Shell, and everyone's stacked up, and then they use prayer of healing, and then just keep prayer of healing, prayer of healing, and it keeps up the bubble on everyone in the raid. That's the pretty generic version of this is how to Spirit Shell. But I mean, other people use it for other things as well. So, but that's kind of like the basic. This is how you use Spirit Shell.
Yeah, Spirit Shell is probably the biggest example of why you need to plan your heals. I mean, you can't start building up a Spirit Shell when the damage is already coming in. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be nearly as effective as if you can time it properly. Now, I mean, the duration isn't as long anymore as it used to be because this has been nerfed to the
Mm,
ground
hmm.
basically, and it's still really, really good.
Yeah.
So, um,
Um, Power Infusion is one we already mentioned earlier. Um, it increases spell haste 20%, damage by 5%, and mana cost of spells by 20% for 20 seconds. So
mm,
that's one.
mm,
And then your Inner Focus. Which is reduce the mana cost of your next flash heal, greater heal, prayer of healing by 25%, and increases the critical chance by 100. You also become immune to silence, interrupt, and dispel effects for 5 measly seconds.
mm.
Did you talk about inner fire and inner will at all?
Nope.
Oh, you want to talk about that? I wasn't sure
I
during
mean,
that long several pages
rant.
that you covered if you happen to slip in inner fire and inner will or not.
I
I missed it.
didn't, and I can tell you that I was being a complete nubbit earlier today when I was playing my priest,
Yeah.
because I forgot to put on an inner fire. Whoops. I still
Whoops.
topped the meters if that's important to anyone, which just shows that bubbles are just great. But um, inner fire is a spell power benefit, and that's what you want, really.
Yep.
You
10%.
you switch to inner will if you absolutely need to run faster and maybe cast a lot of instant cast spells because it reduces the mana cost for those.
Yes.
And that's basically it. Inner fire is default, maybe inner will at certain points.
Yeah.
Yeah, is.
But again, it depends on your
That's right.
situation. Yeah, what's going on? Are you 10 and
Yeah.
25 man, or are you undergeared, overgeared? Are you carrying people? Like, oh,
Mm,
and all that comes into play, which is something that we say every friggin' time, but it's so true.
mm.
Anything else?
Um,
Anything else? Anything else we want to talk about? We're doing good,
uh,
man. We're doing good. We got 9 minutes. It's an hour. Damn, we're getting better at this.
woo!
It's only took us between whatever episode this is, 8, 10, 12, 3. I don't even know.
Who knows? I don't know
Don't
anymore.
even know.
I mean, we could talk about mana regeneration a little bit. You got your
Ah,
Shadow Fiend. Alternatively, if you like Sean go for Mindbender, you
ah.
can. That's the other alternative. But yes, Shadow Fiend, Hymn of Hope, that all priests have, that you will channel and will um, benefit you and those around you, preferably healers
Mhm,
if there are healers around.
mhm,
It's
mhm, mhm.
smart like that. And obviously you have Rapture, which is such an elegant way to get mana back. So it's a little there's a little skills that comes into play. Um, and yeah, I mean there are so many different tips and tricks you can do with these three things, especially Hymn of Hope and Shadow Fiend. When to pop it, when to use it, when to just if you're catastrophically low, everyone's about to die, you can Hymn of Hope for just one tick or something and still benefit from the increased mana regeneration.
I feel like we could talk about
Uh,
mana management forever of this spec.
mm-hmm, we could, and we're not gonna because it's boring.
But just remember
It's
Hymn of Hope, Shadow Fiend, and Rapture. There you go. You got it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, there's that. So there is
I
that.
am sure I might have missed loads, but unfortunately, we aim to keep this show around an hour and doing the basics, not the too advanced stuff just
However,
yet. At least we might.
however, if you do email us,
Sure.
we will help you out.
Oh yeah.
We actually got email from another guy about some Warrior stuff. So, like if you want to email us about certain stuff maybe you missed or you want to follow up on or ask different questions on or anything like that, suggestions for the show, stuff like that, please feel free to email us. It's edge@blizzpro.com. We'll make sure to see that and help you out there.
Mm.
Is there anything else that we want to talk about for this other stuff? Huh?
Um, Disc Priest, super strong, can be really intricate, can be really easy. Easy mode depending on
What you
your play
choose.
style, I
Yep.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Play Holy Priests.
Freaking
So much
biased.
more
She's so
fun.
biased over here.
That's my personal
She's so
opinion.
biased.
Mainly because Disc Priest made me switch class.
So here's a couple of things that we're gonna mention to you guys, just kind of put some
Mhm,
thoughts in your head. First thing is, we may be switching to a pre-recorded cast and
mhm,
directly uploading them to YouTube instead of doing the live stream. A couple different reasons, which we weren't really going to go to in detail. But one of the main reasons is, poor Alex over here gets up at like what 3 a.m. and then we
mhm.
go live at 4 a.m. and you don't get done till 5 a.m. So it's that's going to be really taxing on her. And I honestly feel bad. So if we can make it a little bit easier on her, it would be probably beneficial for everyone. So that's one of the reasons, but that's something we're thinking about. It may not be something we actually do, or maybe we'll go live, once a month or something. We haven't really figured it out yet, so something we're thinking about. Something else we're thinking about as well is we may be bringing on another co-host. So we will probably keep you guys. We will definitely be keeping you guys posted on how we're gonna go about um, maybe searching for a third co-host. Maybe that's something you are interested in. I don't know. So keep that in mind. We'll keep you posted. I'm sure we'll have something on the blizzpro.com site. Alex writes for them quite frequently, so I'm sure she'll have something posted up there when we talk to the appropriate people. Um, so there's those two things. Also, I do have our graphics designer working on overlays for our show as well. We're going to updating the overlays the next couple of weeks, giving it some cosmetic lifts, things like that. Um, so yeah, so I just
Okay,
wanted to
cool.
end the show with that. Do you have any shout outs? Anything you want to say to anyone? Any of that kind of stuff before we go?
Not really.
Nope.
Good night.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to bed.
They see, it's one of those things. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. You can see our Twitter handles right above our names. That's at a Merling, at Valise. Those are our Twitter handles, and then right in the middle you can see Edge underscore Blizz Pro TV. To make sure to check us out when we go live. If we can't make it to go live like last week, we actually didn't have a show because it was my birthday. So I had some friends come in from out of town, and they treated me to a nice dinner, and I didn't feel like having to rush them or be rude, but being like, hey man, like listen, I appreciate the gesture, but I got responsibilities. Um, so yeah. But
Well,
anyways,
yeah, Sean turned old officially, so everyone collectively go, "Oh,
no. So yeah. So make sure to follow us on
you're an
Twitter.
old
Make sure to check
man."
out blizzpro.com. Make sure to I don't even know, do other stuff. I'm gonna play this music as we're going out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Bye.
Okay. You guys, we will see you next week. We'll tweet out something. I don't even know what we're even gonna do, but we'll figure it out. We'll tweet it out. Follow us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.